Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Cruel World #1. This is a Jim Blanchard one-man anthology that he also self-published under his Teat-Horn imprint. And there was never a #2, unfortunately. It's almost understandable. Jim Blanchard has a very, what's the word? Off-putting style. Graphically, he's superb. That's why he's often recruited to ink other people's work, always beautifully. He did a long run inking Peter Bagge on Hate Comics. But his own comics are just, they're hard-boiled and almost psychotic. They're very dark. And, of course, I like them. I have it because I'm a negative Nelly, and his stuff I really like. It's very appealing to me, even though it's off-putting. We see just by this cover. Look at this. It's just something really disturbing about this. Like he rarely draws like this, but he made this goofy cartoon character. I think he knew what he was doing just to make this just so much more creepier. And by what I was talking about earlier, just what a craftsman he is. I mean, look at this, the finish on the wood. Like, he's really an impeccable artist. But unfortunately, he just wants to make these comics that are very misanthropic. In this issue, the mirth and the mayhem. And I guess there's a little bit of both in here. Here's an ad with art by him for a bunch of his various titles through Teat-Horn. And here's the contents page. Strange photo. I don't know if this is him or not, or just some weird photo we found. I don't know what Jim Blanchard looks like. So, this first story, A Trip to the Hardware Store. And this is almost like a weird little autobio strip. And it's just about him going to the hardware store to buy some staples. And look at it. This is like different style for him. Almost all the comics in here are different styles. This is this like super crisp, clean style. I've never seen him draw like this in any of the other stuff I've seen from Jim Blanchard. His one's very just odd. It's literally just him looking for these staplers in the store and not being able to find them for quite a while. Just the amount of detail in here, though. Yeah, I read this again last night for the first time in years, and I don't even understand why I like this. This should be incredibly boring. I guess many would find it that. But I love reading his stuff for some reason. So he finally finds the staples. And kind of just hearing myself describe this story, I'm bored to tears. I just can't explain it. This is a very boring story. And yet, something about the art just compelled me to keep reading it. And apparently, the staples are crud. When he gets them home, they don't work right. And that's it. Now I feel like such a goofball. You guys are probably thinking, why the hell is he showing us this comic? I don't know. I don't know why I like this so much. This next one's called The Tush Hog. And this is another autobio story about him working on the construction site and all the various characters he works with. But one in particular, I guess because he's kind of a schlumpy guy, everyone calls him the Tush Hog. Almost everyone on the crew is really cruel about it. They're always ribbing him and calling him Tush Hog and making graffiti. And then one day he totally trips and really hurts himself, almost breaks his nose. He falls on a piece of rebar, like right in his face. And everyone they all laugh at him. That's how like cruel they are to this guy. And he's bleeding, he's in pain. And everyone's laughing except for, it looks like, I think this is Jim Blanchard. He helps him up and says, "You okay, man?" He's like, "Nothing hurt but my pride." So he's just this like kind of sad sack little guy. Next one is $2.50 a pack. And this is just an odd little strip of just these two guys who are smoking, chain smoking, just talking about how they're never going to quit. And how all the great Americans were all smokers. If you look at history. Even the hippie vegetarians smoke. Fuck lung cancer, I'll never quit. Bored, broke, hungry, and mean. And I guess this is with Steve R. So I don't know if he helped them write this or he's just a character in the story. So I guess this is another autobio. And basically they pull this scam on a fast food drive-through clerk, pretending they didn't get a hamburger earlier so they get free burgers. And the whole time they're also insulting him. This is an abbreviated picto-history of bad crime in the United States. I guess this is based on a true story where these two guys, basically their whole plan was to murder this kid, but then just inform the parents that they kidnapped him. And just incredibly savagely, they kill this guy. They call the parents. They're a bunch of dummies, so they stay on the phone too long. And the phone call is traced. The cops find him. They find the dead body. And before they can even meet justice, I guess the parents, who are so angry, they kind of wrangle up a mob. And they kill the guys and hang them from nearby trees. I guess it was in 1933. Something like this really happened. This one I don't get at all. Stupid Jesse and unfit to be a wafer. Apparently Jesse is just like has aphasia. He just says random things and he likes to say big wafer a lot. I don't get it at all. Crime sexy. You get the sense from a lot of these comments that Jim Blanchard likes to do research. Like he's reading all these weird books and then he incorporates them into his comics. So here we see mugshots. I imagine he had a book of mugshots. And these are all things like on the public record of what these people said when they were caught. Just weird little excuses, alibis. This one says, nothing but a tease, typical. That cunt asked for all she had coming. So like this guy obviously just raped a woman and doesn't care. So just all these basically sociopaths. And how after they've committed some heinous crime, they just either say flippant things or, of course, they try to talk their way out of it. Amazing the variety of faces in here. So well captured. Actually, this probably isn't even a book. It's probably, he actually got his hands on some actual crime reports. Because I can't imagine a book that would have all their testimonies. I like this one, Attack of the 50-Foot Hippie. This is a fake movie poster photographed in psychedeliscope. I guess I can't show you the whole thing at once, but they even have the credits and everything. I'd like to see that movie. I'd pay. This one's so strange. The Execution of Carl Jung. And I think this is something that happened, even though I did not know Carl Jung had to go to the Nuremberg trials. So maybe this whole thing is made up. But it says research by Robert N. Taylor, text by George Petros and Carl Jung. So apparently, Carl Jung worked with the Nazis in Germany. He was the head of the Psychiatric Association of Germany, something like that. So when Nuremberg came around, they basically gave him the business. Even in jail, because of his reputation, someone smuggled LSD to him. This is 1946, and LSD's 6 years old at this point. He's getting interrogated, and Carl Jung figures this might be the last chance I ever have to take this. I might be executed tomorrow morning if they don't like my answers. So he takes the acid on the most important discussion of his life. That's gonna, it's gonna be his judgment, and so he takes the acid. The narration's very odd too. I don't know. It does say text by George Petros, so it's not Jim Blanchard. It almost acts like the Nuremberg trials were this negative thing. Like it was some kind of witch hunt for Nazis, be they real or imagined, alleged or otherwise. And I'm sure maybe maybe there was an innocent guy or two who got swept up in it. But it seems like the Nuremberg trials, most people kind of look at it and say, good work there. Those Nazis needed some retribution, some justice, I mean. But so it's a very oddly written piece. I do like when he takes the acid and we slowly see these crazy images, almost basically it's op art, slowly sliding in and taking over the panel. Each panel gets progressively more dense, and the psychedelic op art takes over. It just seems like that. So basically his tongue is loosened eventually. As he's full on tripping here, we see it taking over everything. And God, the way he draws the interrogator here, it's just some horrible bad trip drawing. But so his tongue is loosened and he kind of starts just being honest. And it kind of sounds like Carl Jung was anti-Semitic. It's weird though, because the whole time he's just saying, hey, I'm just saying, the Aryan brain is better for psychology than the Jewish brain. He's saying all this weird shit. But then he keeps saying, yeah, and for that they call me an anti-Semite. That's bullshit. But it seems like what he's saying is very anti-Semitic. But he's also kind of whining about how, they keep calling me an anti-Semitic just for saying these anti-Semitic things. So it's very strange. Amazing fun opera art. I really like, this is some fun stuff to look at. Look at that. Looks like something Ditko would imagine in a 50s Atlas comic. Like a spiny beast handler. So it just goes on like this. It's pretty amazing stuff. And then basically he's just Jung is ranting about all this crazy shit, kind of racial theory, as it deals with psychology. And then we see the interrogator put a gun to his head. It looks like he blows his brains out. As far as I know, Carl Jung did not die in the Nuremberg trials. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I guess I could be totally ignorant. Maybe he was. I don't think so, though. I do like this, though, how all the psychedelia is flushed down a drain, basically, as his consciousness falls out the back of his head. Kind of a really nice graphic there. This one's just like a comic from another world. This is like that Googie Schwammer comic. I don't know what this is. It looks kind of cool, though. Almost like graffiti tags where you can't even read it. I wait to see these two one-celled organisms running at each other. They just hit each other with huge impact, and they just get up and do it again. Then they start fighting. And they shove each other together so hard that they both just turn into a mass of goop. It just seems like he just totally wanted to have fun with this. He just wanted to draw this shit. Very silly. Once again, I don't know why. I think this is a great comic. This one's very weird. This one's very like film noir, like hard-boiled, but also nuts. It's Monday Morning Missy, and this woman, the narrator, talking about her daily ritual of waking up, having coffee, smoking a cigarette, getting ready for work. And as she leaves the door, she sees a bowl of butter, a cool bowl of butter, even though it's a warm day, sitting on the front steps. All of a sudden, the man who lives across the street is suddenly running towards her, just wearing boxer shorts and a bathrobe. He trips on the curb halfway to her, and he basically a big chunk of skin falls off of his chin and his big toe, his right big toe. If you notice, like, they're just all extreme close-ups, like as if it was some like 60s avant-garde film. You can kind of see also why so many guys want Jim Blanchard to ink him. He's got a really nice, juicy ink line. Just really like his inks. So the old man picks himself off the ground and continues towards her, smiling. And then it is almost like an avant-garde film where he lowers his face to the bowl of butter, and he starts poking his tongue in it. It seems to excite him. The narrator is startled and sickened by this display. She drops the bowl, and then she grabs his face in her hands and spits in his face. This seems to make him happy. He smiles. He takes my spit into his mouth and swallows it. She spits it on him again. This time it lands in his bathrobe, but now he's furious. He grits his teeth, and he starts to quiver and moan. And then he just drops dead, right at her feet. She's late for work, so she closes the door, and she kind of kicks the neighbor off the stoop. I hate men. I really hate being late for work. So, such a dark story. It's like if Jim Thompson hated the world 10 times more than he already did. It's just very misanthropic. Oh, this is nasty. Rufus, Zelmo, and Lars in Old Hazel's Mystery Pinch. And it's version X, Y, and Z. And each one is almost exactly the same, the first two panels. These kids are like, whoa, look at Hazel. She's really taking it. It looks like she's giving birth. And then one of them says, oh, I bet it's just a turd. But then it'll be like some nasty thing. You're both wrong. Dismut be pinching bike pedals. I guess this dog has been chasing bicyclists and eating the pedals. The third one, it turns out to be ticks that were burrowing in her intestines. And the third one, it turns out to be glass shards. So just, it's almost like a gag strip, but just disgusting and not funny at all. Just gross. I like this weird, abstract one. Let's hear it for point of view. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at here. But I like the way it looks. Here's another pinup. This one's called Shiver Me Timbers. Just a nasty piece of goriness. Another horrifying image. This looks so different than some of his other stuff, which is more realistic. This almost could be like by Glenn Head or something. And this one, this is the Jim Blanchard I see a lot of, like in his retinal damage compilation. That was on the inside front cover there, we saw earlier, advertised. Just this really tight, kind of obscene drawing. Usually something infernal and horrifying. But like, look at just the amount of detail in here and the craftsmanship. This one's called Crab Louse Apocalypse. And there's almost like a poem about Satan depositing crab lice on this woman after having sex with her. It's really just repulsive and gross. But man, I love looking at his art. Oh God, it's so disgusting. Look at this one here. I guess that's the plight of the artist. And then I really love this back cover. Whoa Daddy. And just the style, this cartooniness, yet incredible slick sheen to it. It's so tight. Yeah, that's some ink in there. He definitely knows what he's doing with that ink brush. So there you go, guys. Cruel World #1 by Jim Blanchard. I'm sorry, I feel like I just terribly described this because I don't know how to describe it. I don't know why I like Jim Blanchard. He seems like a terrible person. And the things he draws are terrible. But I guess just because his craft is so good, I like looking at him. And sometimes, I don't know, I like some movies that are just all gnarly, like some of those French movies by Gaspar Noé and stuff. Sometimes I like to look at the ugly side of the world. And, yeah, this is not for everyone, that's for sure. And, but I just wanted to show it off because I think Jim Blanchard's got some major skills with an ink brush. And I have some other Jim Blanchard comics, some of those advertised in the inside front cover, and I guess I'll look at them one day. But I have a feeling nobody's going to want to see those either. So I hope some of you out there like looking at this today. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.